Hey everybody, this is Andy Bennett with the CSS News Civil War Interpretive Center. Today I'm going to be talking about the Cutlass, the primary weapon of a sailor when boarding or defending from boarders. The CSS News crew never attacked another ship. They were never boarded by another crew, but it was a skill they would have been taught. They've been taught to fight with the Cutlass, to fight with pistols, and to fight with musket and bayonet. We're on the aft deck of the CSS News. I'm going to be wearing a GoPro to give you some perspective, first-person perspective of this. So let's get into it. This is going to be a basic primer of fighting the Cutlass. I'm not a sword master, and I don't claim to be an expert swordsman. So this will be just a basic primer of some of the techniques and ideas of sword fighting during the American Civil War. Okay, we've got our friend the dummy here is with his wooden sword that we're going to use to show some of these. Okay, first, footwork. Footwork was very important. Your basic footwork is, most people are right-handed, so you're going to have your right foot planted straight, your rearward foot planted angle forming a T. Well, right? What that allows you to do is, if you need to advance, you can shuffle forward towards the enemy or shuffle back away from them. You can sidestep, right? What it also lets you do is pivot. Let's say you're fighting an enemy and another one appears at an angle. You can pivot, and you can pivot. You can get out here and we can pivot, you know, quick pivot, quick pivot, quick pivot, all the way around. So footwork is important. The other part of footwork is when you're on the attack, you're going to be advancing towards your opponent. On the defense, you want to be leaning away from your opponent. You know, making them gauge that distance. Sometimes the best defense is that attack that never gets to your sword, the one you can shuffle out of the way, right? So advancing on attack, away from when the enemy is attacking you. They would have taught you some basic blocks and some basic striking cuts, and I'm going to go through those. Let's go through the cuts first, because doing the cuts will make the blocking make more sense. The basic attacks are attacks to the head, to the cheek, and to the body. Very rarely are there leg slashes. The reason being, when you're down here slashing, it opens you up for attack, right? So those are your three slashes, but then we have a thrust, and whether it's a straight thrust, a turn bladed thrust, it doesn't matter. So head, cheek, body, thrust, all right? 4 attacks. Your blocks are going to be a high block to block those head blows and possible cheek slashes, but mainly the head blows. Then these mid guard things, they're mainly to block incoming body slashes, right? You do have a low block, which is and just in case you get someone come in for a low slash. So high block, those mid blocks, low block, right? But mostly the way you want to block an enemy is through parries. Your defensing parry movement. The things they taught sailors were parries, retorts, and excuse me, my French is terrible, moniers, which are circles. You see people swashbucklers swashing around, you know, that's keeping us up a riff for those moniers, those tiny circles, right? And you want to be able to move the sword in a small thing. And what that is for is when you see in classic fencing movies where they go to parry and they just rotate the blade away from them. They just misdirecting force of that thrust attack. But one of the other things that that tiny circle gives you is when you parry, right, the next thing you want to do is what's called the retort, which is the counter attack. So you want to parry and counter attack, right? Well, the miniers give you, instead of having to haul back our arm really far to deliver a cutting blow, you don't need to do that. Those circles, those miniers allow you to rotate out and then just roll the wrist, snap the wrist into an attack. right? No, just quick snap attack. Instead of telegraphing where you're, well, they say telegraphing, showing the enemy what you're gonna do. So you've got your parries, which are those classic sword slashes. So you're gonna want parry, 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 but you wanna follow those parries if you can up with a retort, with an attack, right? The other thing is, like I said, you wanna gain distance on your attacks. You don't wanna get in too close, he's gonna get a cut on you, but you wanna engage. And also with Cutlass, you've got a free hand. So let's say he comes at us, we can parry that, and if we close distance, we may be able to grab him by the wrist, right? Keep our balance and go with a thrust, go with a face slash. We can actually get in here and a face punch, combination face punch slash stab you want to inflict. These fights are quick, bloody events. There's people with pistols shooting them at you. You've got your friends on your crew you're trying to defend. There's multiple people. You want to finish this person off because you're going to have to defend yourself from somebody else attacking you. And it's not